So this has been taking me hours and hours and hours to do. I'm going to explain my disability here. So my roommate hasn't been making his phone calls, and I'm trying to prepare him for court, so I'm helping him with a letter. And all it is why should the judge allow us to withhold our rent? That's it. So he doesn't know how to really write paragraphs. He's not really good at writing. He can't spell, and he really needs to get the straight message across. So I gave him this format right here. It's really simple. Oh man, I'm shaky. Oh yeah, I can't do any more. I gotta wait for more leftover work and man. Anyways, this format. Put a paragraph here. We're paying for a 2-bedroom. Bedbug infestation, already paid for removal. Water damaging our property. Stuff like that. That's the template. I wrote down some ideas for him. Just real quickly. It took me a long time. As you can see, my handwriting is terrible. And this is not even the first draft. This is the 8th draft. 8. Not even for me. I haven't even got the mine yet. And I got one more day to complete it. And this isn't even mine. I'm doing this for my roommate. That way, this is from the phone. First I write a note. Then I talk it into the phone. Then I put the note back. Then I talk it into the phone. So you end up with lots of copies. Like, for instance, if you look at that copy, or this, that's the best one so far. That one I used the phone for correct spelling, and each word was typed in like I'm drawing. So 2, then a B, then an I, then a G, copied off the phone with correct spelling. So that way words like hazard are spelled correctly. And then, so I'm taking something like this. Mold, damage, my property, whatever. And then I talk into the phone back and forth, trying to get it into a actual good sentence. There we go. And we'll take one of these, like point paid for bedbug removal. And as of today, we still have them. Very simple, all spelled correctly. Then, after I get this down, I'll be making my copy, and my roommate is just going to use his handwriting to fill in the blanks. Take what I have, fill it in. And he's reading it out loud, and I said, this is your words. I got my own. You can use some of mine if you like, but I want them to be your words. So I have to read them out loud, go back and forth. It's causing me to shake, and anybody else's take 3 seconds. I mean, boom, bang, bum, write it down, done. For me, because of my shaky hand, I keep on having twitches, spasms. It hurts. I'm getting shocked. It's very hard. And remember, I'm doing this for somebody else, so they have to be willing to do their part. And if they don't, then, I can't jump in their body and do it for them. And because this is a 2-bedroom, and because, like, for a lease, if I ask for a lease, then the landlord can just ignore me and then ask my roommate for my money, and then I get no lease, and the landlord gets his money, and then I ask what the hell's going on, and my roommate says, I don't know. I said I asked for a lease, and he said, oh, I remember, the landlord just said give me money, so I gave him money. I go, he's playing you, don't do this, and months and months and months and months and months, more games. So when stuff like that happens, it makes it super difficult to get anything done. But I just wanted everybody to see, this is the type of crap that causes me to shake, and this is like 6 hours of work just there. 6 hours. Anybody else, that's 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And it never took this long before. It's getting longer and longer the older I get without medical care. Oh yeah, by the way, the reason why this takes so long is I have a neurological disorder that started at age 7 with me getting administered large doses of random medications that my mother wanted to slip me, or that I was prescribed, or that she was lying to doctors and making stories up about my swimming medals to get me prescribed pills. And then she wanted me to go to sleep so she could change the TV. There was a big reaction. When I woke up, my body was different. But that's not the only reason. Most people get medical care for something like this at age 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, especially when teachers are seeing it. They're putting you in physical therapy, speech therapy. Teachers are pulling you in the hallway. Doctors are concerned. So why didn't I still not getting any medical care? Well, instead of getting me help, my mother tried to cover up her mistake, cover up her crime, move me to Texas, move me to New Mexico, cut off doctors, cut off teachers, cut off doctors again, cut off teachers again, cut off doctors again, lie to doctors again, cut off doctors again, lie to doctors, get me medicated, slip me pills, get me medicated, make up stories about whatever the hell she could to cover up what she was doing. But by covering up what she was doing, she had to make sure that I actually never got medical care for the injuries she caused. So all she had to do was convince everybody that my shaking and my falls and me bumping in the furniture was just some mental illness. Yeah, he's self-harming. Yeah, all those scabs on his shins from bumping in the furniture. Yeah, it's self-harming. And oh, him falling down. It's autism. And him having suicidal thoughts after I give him 7 pills with that side effect. It's he's always suicidal. And he ate a mushroom outside and said something he wasn't supposed to. Well, that's a mental illness too. And the reason why I gave him a full bottle of Epicac is it never happened. And oh, he jumped in a pool and caught the back of his foot. No, he didn't. See, that's a fantasy. He makes up stories, and he's self-harming. So my mother just kept it up, kept it up, kept it up. Now I'm 31 and I don't get medical care. So that's why I have so much difficulty with this. I mean, my arm is can't even hold up the damn phone. And of course, I got 7 district court. And I got court on Monday to bring my charges forward against the landlord, but I have no attorney. My roommate is not doing a damn thing to get an attorney, and my father could easily fix this, but I don't. The landlord's problem is not his. The landlord being a douchebag and taking advantage of disabled people in this building, that's a problem with the city of Rochester. Before I moved in, this place had problems, and it looks like people were getting sick before I moved in, and they were just trying to cover it up. But, as far as the neurological disorder, the reason why I'm out of work, the reason why I can't use a shelter, the reason why I don't drive and I can't get places, the reason why I can't fill out paperwork for the courts to move forward a lot quicker and easier. That is my father's responsibility. Absolutely. My father and mother are absolutely the cause of my neurological disorder, and they are absolutely the cause of why I cannot receive medical care for it. When I go to a shelter and I'm disqualified from coming back because I'm disabled, and they tell me to get my disability documented and get some paperwork on it, and then I can come back in, then I go to a neurologist and I try to get it documented. Guess what? It doesn't work. Why? Why would I not have? Because my childhood records, they don't do the doctor any good. And every time I try to give them good information, my father goes, "It's a lie, it's a fantasy, don't help him. No, 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 I don't want to hear about it. No, 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 how dare you believe my son? No, 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 no." Stuff like that. So I get nowhere. So I'm doomed to live with a disability that disqualifies me from work, disqualifies me from doing a lot of things like using a shelter, driving a car, walking down the street, filling out paperwork, and I never get to, nobody ever gets to know about it. Nobody. According to my father, it doesn't need to be treated. Nothing, no. Oh, well, how about Social Security, you would think, right? Nope, my father also crashed that. He wanted to pocket it. He made a couple mistakes. And then when it came time for me to control the money, he decided it wasn't important no more. On top of that, when it was time for me to work on this, there's been one problem after another, and almost every problem I've run into has been related to housing, my father, or my neurological disorder, or just systematic failures. Like, for instance, stuff not having an address and having stuff mailed to a 7 Westford Street. The mailbox for 7 Westford Street was in the Realty building. My Social Security letter got mailed, but the Realty building held my mail to try to use it for somebody else's eviction. What I didn't know this, they didn't tell me. I found this out after I was told that my case was closed because I didn't show up. I said, "I've been coming to the Social Security office every week." I asked the guy at the damn desk. He told me that a letter would be on the way. A letter would be on the way. A letter. I'm not seeing a letter, so I'm coming in every week. The guy doesn't even type on his computer. He just says, "Nope, still nothing, still nothing, still nothing," every week. And then I come in one week and he goes, "Nope, you missed it." I say, "What do you mean I missed it? I came in here last week and you told me there was nothing." He goes, "Yeah, but we mailed a letter out." I said, I got no letter. Where is this letter? They said, we mailed it to 7 Westford Street. I said, there is no letter at 7 Westford Street. I've been checking. My roommate's been checking. There's nothing. So I'm out of luck again. 2 years of work down the drain. What do? I look for the letter. 3 months later, I'm handed a letter from Social Security by BBP Realty and my roommate with the court information with it. What they did is they held my mail and they used it to evict another person and then gave me my mail 3 months after my court date. So I got my court date 3 months after it already passed, thanks to BBP Realty. Now, what did I do? I have to reapply, but now I'm out of everywhere. Now I got to couch surf and restart the process for another 2 years. So I do that. I try and try again and try again and try. Meanwhile, falling, bleeding, emergency room, falling, bleeding, emergency room, bleed, fall, head injury, bleed, fall, cut, bleed, fall, emergency room, ambulance, stupid asshole. This guy mugged me. This guy poured alcohol on me. Oh, great. Why are you sober? What's that stupid question? Why are you asking me why I'm sober? Well, we found you unconscious and there's no drugs in your system. So maybe I'm injured and there's something going on. Nope, we're just going to release you because you're sober. We want it to be drugs. If it's not drugs, then it must be nothing. And then they just release me. So we got a lot of this bullshit going on. Well, why would this be going on? Why would I be... Oh, once again, when I go to the doctors, they listen to my medical file. And who created my medical file? My mother and father. Like, for instance, on my medical file, it said that I had attachment disorder. Well, how did that get established? My mother stole my swimming medal from me that I won in the orphanage and then came up with fantasies at the doctor's office telling the doctor that I'm a thief, I'm a liar, I have attachment disorder, and when I was at the doctor saying, please give me my medal back, I won that in the orphanage, please, I want my medal back, I did better than the other kids, I treaded water the longest, I did the best, please give me my medal back. My mother goes, and see, he's making up stories, it's a fantasy. So at the age of 7, I'm already getting heavily medicated, and they're establishing attachment disorder, kleptomania, and fantasies because my mother wants to do lies. Meanwhile, I'm looking for medical care for actual illnesses, and my mother's trying her best to make sure nobody finds out what she did. So yeah, we got that going on that gets in the way. So you could say that, yeah, my father has a big hand in me not being able to go forward with stuff, like going after the landlord here. I need to be able to write. I need my hand to stop shaking. I need this to stop. Well, how do you make a neurological disorder, seizures, shakes, muscle spasms, a shocking type taser feeling going through your body, falls, head injuries? How do you make that stop? Well, you go to a doctor. Okay, I went to a doctor. What's the problem? Well, we need epilepsy medication and we need to be treated and they need to write down and diagnose my illness. Okay, I have the information he needs. What's the problem? Well, my father keeps on lying and they have 2 stories. They got the truth from me, about me, and then they got a bunch of fantasies from a dead woman and a husband who doesn't want to take responsibility, so he's just going to do everything in his power to crash everything. So that's the problem. We got one person lying and one person trying to get help. So yeah, I'm probably going to die before anybody even gives me any epilepsy medication, before I even get a piece of paper that says Zachary Newell has a neurological disorder that's started at the age of 7. There were symptoms like coordination issues. We put him in physical therapy, speech therapy, but the symptoms seemed to persist over time and medical treatment was stopped. During the time that Zach was not receiving medical treatment, he had worsening symptoms, head injuries, and this neurological disorder is called so-and-so, that is a result of brain damage or whatever from an overdose or lack of oxygen to the brain and the nervous system shut down or whatever this is. And he's going to need help with motion or might have difficulty using his nervous system. That way when I fall or have a seizure, they're like, oh, it's a neurological disorder. That's why he's having trouble talking and can't move his legs. But instead, I can't talk and move my legs, so they just bring me to the emergency room. They ask me why I'm sober. I say because I don't do drugs, and then they go, okay, and then they release me. And I ask why. They go, well, we don't know what's going on. It's not drugs. We did a drug test. It's not drugs. Okay. It's a seizure and a neurological disorder, and that's why I'm here. What did you guys check for? Drugs and mental illnesses. Why? Because that's what your mother and father said you need help with, drugs and mental illnesses. There's nothing here about a neurological disorder. I realize that, but it's been going on for 25 years. We need to get this done already, people. But nope, instead I'm just destined to live like a squirrel or an animal for the rest of my life. Meanwhile, people discriminate against me because I'm disabled, because my father didn't want anybody to know about my true disabilities. Now, that's today. I do gotta mention that my father's a victim too. He was being lied to by my mother at these times. It's not like my mother went up to him and said, "Hey, your son is OD'd on the floor. They just told me to bring him to the emergency room, and I'm gonna refuse, and we're gonna have him sleep it off." No, she didn't say that. That is what happened. But my father was sitting there as I was OD'd. My mother was on the phone with the hospital or the people or the ambulance or whatever. They told her to bring me to the emergency room. And my mother said, came over to my father right as I was about to pass out. "They don't know what they're talking about." Hung right up on them and then let me sleep it off. Well, that's a lie to my father, and she didn't inform him with how dangerous the situation was. She didn't tell my father why she was on the phone with emergency people. My father had no clue what was going on. All he knows is they're going to watch a movie, and now this kid's panicking. He's passed out. He's acting weird. And my wife is acting weird, and she's telling me they don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what that means. Then we're at the doctor's office. I talk about an overdose. My mother says it's an allergy attack. Well, what doctor called it that? None of them. At that point, that was the first time anybody ever heard it from me. I mentioned it to the doctor. My father and mother were there. The doctor asked my mother what it was. She said she gave me medication and there was just an allergy attack. He asked what medications those were. My mother said she didn't remember. It wasn't important. And then the conversation ended. That's terrible. That's terrible. Your son has a neurological disorder. He can't be sucking his skin because his skin has changed. Teachers are calling you at home telling you that they've seen a change in your son. Your son's taking physical therapy and speech therapy. The doctor is very concerned and something needs to be done. But no, because my mother said it was an allergy attack. Well, where'd she get this from? Oh, she pulled it out of her bum. She pulled it right out of her ass. She took her little pinky finger, stuck it up her ass and said, "Oh, let me find an excuse." Oh, there's a nice big little nugget excuse. There's a dingleberry I can pull. Okay. And what do we have here? Allergies. Yes, that's the one I'll use. Allergies. It was allergies. Okay, so if it was allergies, if that ripped out of the ass nugget of shit that she just spilled was true, then the next day I would have another allergy attack because they kept on administering those same medications the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. And they also told my mother, I forget who it was. This was brought up quite a bit, but at one point they even told my mother that that couldn't be possible when she was on the phone or something. They told me that that was impossible. I know what's possible. Yeah, that is too much. It's just too much. I'm actually reliving it at this moment. I'm starting to get really stressed. My arm was already shaky. So we're going to stop here. But keep in mind, stuff like that is the reason why I'm having trouble with stuff like this. Yes, I was never a good writer to begin with, but I'm getting worse every year as my neurological disorder gets worse. And don't forget that when I was in New Mexico, I wasn't getting an education. No, absolutely not. What did I get? Extracurricular activities. They said, "It's book time, it's reading time. Everybody grab a book off the shelf and sit down." And don't think there's a teacher or staff coming to you either. No, you're going to sit there for an hour with a book. You grab a book off the shelf, you sit on the couch, and you sit there for an hour. Now, my parents complained about my reading and wanted me to get a better education. They did complain at this, but there was no way to get it. Where they're putting me, there is no education. So they're literally cutting off all education and then complaining that I don't have an education. So it's not like this program is like, what do you want us to do? Get the 25-year-old staff member with no former teaching education to teach your child? What do you want us to do? We hired somebody, she quit, and now we don't want to tell you about that, so we're just having the staff members teach your kids. What do you want us to do? I want my kid to read. So what do? They have the older kids start working with me. I have to pair up with the older kid and reading. It's not an education. That is not enough to even pass. Anywhere else in the country, if I went to school, there's no way I would pass. I missed 3 years. I redid first grade after I already passed first grade, by the way. My mother forced that upon the teacher. It was a big fight. The teacher wanted me to go to second grade, but my mother wanted to hold me back. She wanted me to be older than all the kids. Yes, Zach needs to be older than all the kids, so you need to hold him back. My mother, and she succeeded after yelling and arguing for a long time. So I redid first grade once. In Texas, I had to be established and redo everything so they knew what level I was at. Then, right when they were starting to teach me and starting to get a regular education, I was ripped out of school, ripped out of any doctors because I mentioned the overdose of the doctors again. And the doctors wanted to know more about it. And so my mother was like, nope, 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 we're not going to get that done. And I'm now in New Mexico. No teachers, no education up there. So I lost out on a whole year there. Actually, 18 months total. Then, do I get an education after? No, they're going to homeschool me for a while. Then they got to reestablish my education and figure out what level I'm at in Massachusetts after I've lost all this. And my mother's going to make up so many stories about me being mentally ill, slow, whatever, that they might not even realize that I'm just missing a shitload of education and just need to catch up. Instead, they're just going to act like I'm some mental person because that's what my mother wants. She definitely wants that. She was pushing that at age 7, and she wasn't getting her way. My mother got to get her way. I'm not even kidding. This is how severe my mother had to get her way. On Halloween, everybody but my mother said I could go trick-or-treating. Wear a costume, 6 years old, something like that, 8 years old, whatever. My mother says, I don't want him going out. I don't want him going out trick-or-treating. I don't want him going out. But everybody says I can. I get permission. I'm allowed. So I start putting my costume on. My mother calls me over. Here, take your medication. I get sick. I start vomiting. I turn pale. My mother walks by the door. Oh, he's sick. He can't go out. I get my way. You can't go out. Then, another Halloween. They tell me I can go out on Halloween. My mother says, no, he can't. But she's not getting her way. My mother has to get her way. But she's not getting her way. They all said that it's normal for a kid to go trick-or-treating. Let him go out with his friends. Why, you don't want your son to have friends? No, I don't want him going out trick-or-treating. She's overruled. But my mother needs to get her way. So she goes in the medicine cabinet, calls me over and says, it's time for meds. Gives me meds. I get deadly sick. Oh, Zach can't go out. He's sick again. Sick for another Halloween. I get my way again. I'm going to baby him for the next 20 hours. And then I don't get to go out for Halloween. This happened 3 or 4 times between 4 years in a row. It was about 4 or 5 year period. And 3 or 4, 4, definitely 4. 4 times my mother definitely poisoned me so I wasn't allowed to go trick-or-treating. Yes. She called me over for medication. I swallowed the medication. And then as soon as the medication kicked in, I got violently ill. Now, as a child, that young, we called it the curse. Why do I keep on getting sick every Halloween like clockwork? I'm about to go trick-or-treating and then I get sick. What is this mystery illness I get every Halloween? Why do I keep on getting sick on Halloween? Why do I keep on getting sick on Halloween? Why do I keep on getting sick on Halloween? I want to go out. I want to get candy. I want to get sick from eating too much candy like the rest of the kids. Why am I got something? What's going on? I didn't even get any candy. I'm crying. No idea what the fuck is going on. I got the mystery curse illness. Every Halloween, I get sick right before it's time to go trick-or-treating. My mother was poisoning me with pills. The pills she was calling me over to take were not the right pills. When your mother calls you over and says it's time to take your medicine, you take the medicine and then you get really sick, make sure if you hear that from your child, you report it. Because that is very important. My mother did that and my father was standing right by, clueless. He's like, oh, Zach is sick for a 3rd Halloween. Ah, that's weird. Oh, well. Okay. Can't go out, Zach. You're sick. You said you're sick, Zach, so you must be. And I am. My mother made me sick, and then she got her way. I want to go out trick-or-treating. I got permission. I'm about to go out. My mother gives me pills. I get violently sick. And, of course, I can't fake being well. I'm puking my head in the trash can. My mother's like, see, I told you he's sick. Nope, he can't go out. My mother really needed to get her way, and that's how fucked up. That's why I have a neurological disorder today, and that's why this is so difficult today.